Hey there, welcome to the channel. Today I will be doing another Kpop Demon Hunters one-shot video explanation where I go into the depth and intention behind my original writing based off the movie Kpop Demon Hunters. Today's is an what if discussing the alternative ending of the film in which Rumi decides to fully embrace her demonic side and join Gwi-Ma. I find this to be a much more believable and plausible ending, and I highly recommend that you read the one shot first before listening to the video. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off, I wanted to take this scene directly from the film, so I basically put it into writing the first couple of seconds after the performance of your idol. So in the film, it lands on Jinu's face, so I decided to use him as the point of reference for this. Obviously this is just a retelling of that part, but I decided to give it a bit more of a darker underlying feel than the film already had, because this is going to take a darker turn compared to the rest of the movie. So I tried to make it as very off-putting as possible with a lot of negative connotation words that often imply a sort of unsettlingness, with eerie, crept, and is like a familiar yet alien noise to really improve and up the ante of this emotion. And obviously I then show Rumi walking out, and this is just a retelling of the scene. So she talks, and then she says the hunters' ideals are their motto, and then after that I add a slightly different thing, which is she has a weak laugh escaping from her lips, which is sort of to imply a sort of her not really believing in this motto anymore, compared to in the film where she continues to just walk forward with confidence. And Gwi-Ma plays a bigger role within this one, and then I continue with this dialogue. The dialogue up till here is completely taken from the film. I just redid it in my more original and style of writing. Here is where the story really changes, as typically after it is when Rumi says it, she says, "So we can make a new one." But this does not happen within this timeline of the thing. And throughout it, I definitely show that Rumi is a lot more empty compared to when she was during the film. I play into the fact that there was no moment where she says, "So we can make a new one," and with a lot of short sentences. But then, that was it. There was no triumphant moment, no defiance against its statement. It's in reference to Gwi-Ma, because no gender, he's a fire. But there's a lot of sort of suspense building up to this, and then there's no payoff, there's no triumph, right? So this is to show that this is different from the original timeline. And then Gwi-Ma, obviously noticing this, says, "Is there nothing you have to say?" And this is where I have a very much more or heavy, darker dialogue and turn for the rest of the story. First, she swears off being a hunter because she no longer believes in those ideals. Gwi-Ma, obviously noticing this, asks, "Why not? Why are you not? Were you not just preaching their ideals mere moments ago?" Obviously referencing the original dialogue where she says, "We are hunters, voice is strong," over here. Obviously, this is where Rumi takes a more or darker turn, no longer acting like the original character, as she has venom coating her every word when she says those ideals are lies. This is obviously very different from the Rumi that we recognize from the movie, and this is because she internalizes the events of the film in a much more negative way. Gwi-Ma, taking advantage of this begins to try and coax Rumi into truly become a demon, not just embracing her demonic side along with her hunter heritage like the film has us do in the ending, but have her fully take over with her demonic side and forgoing the hunter aspect of her life. Now this is where the suspense slowly builds up, and in order to do this, what I do is I keep pressing forward with Gwi-Ma's talking, as he's sort of the devil within Rumi's ear. So he keeps pushing and pushing, and it builds the suspense until we finally get a concluding sentence, which is typically what similar scenes do this with, where an individual is coaxed and coaxed and coaxed until finally they break. They either agree or refuse outright. And in this case, Rumi agrees. And this is signified through a visual aspect as well, where in the film, only her left eye had become demonic, but in this, her right eye also becomes demonic as well. And then I stated here as well, she was no longer human. Now, I started this chapter from Jinu's perspective, so I need to reference it back in order to make this full circle. So this hints towards another possibility, and I might expand on this timeline a bit more if you guys want it. But in this, Jinu feels his heart ache as he watches the love of his life embrace the very being that he had warned her about. Now this is to show that Jinu didn't want Rumi to become a demon. He never did. That was not the point. He was lashing out in anger, and he does not want this for Rumi, but seeing her become a demon hurts him. But I do like to conclude my short one-shots with very big, powerful endings, and in this case, this was not her choice, but the choice the world made when they forced her to hide. Obviously, it wasn't the world, but Celine, but the world does play a part in this as well, in the idol culture that is heavily referenced within this film. Idols are typically forced to hide many aspects that their agencies deem unfavorable. But then again, I'm not too into that stuff, so I'm not too sure. But that's it for this one. Tell me if you wanted more in-depth explanations. Tell me how I could improve these videos. But that's it. Like if you enjoy, so make sure to subscribe for more, and check out my original series called Caught in Your Embrace. Without further ado, let's see you next week. Bye.